Hello, and welcome to today's episode of In the Moment. I'm your host, Michael Clark, certified life coach, former therapist, and owner of Clark Coaching Services. I was a therapist for 8 years in my career and have been a life coach for almost 2 years now. And I just want to give back and share my knowledge and experience with you to try to help navigate this thing we call life. Thank you in advance for listening, and I'm so glad you're here. All right. Welcome, everyone. As you may be able to see, I have a guest today for the In the Moment podcast. I'm your host, Michael Clark, Clark Coaching Services, and I am very, very excited to talk to today's guest. She is a fellow coach in terms of what she does in helping women and individuals. I want to get started right away, so I will let her introduce herself, and then we will move forward from there. So go for it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a pleasure. And my name is Afito Chiu. And fun fact, Afito means Friday in my language, so I always like to break that ice because it's a great lead with. But I actually call myself a life and career reset facilitator. Only specifically because I've been through it. There's so many transitions in my life that I need to be in a grounding place in order to come back up. So what I do is I lead space. I create space, I lead space, community group talks and circles for women that are going professional women that are going through some kind of transition and or rebuilding after a pause in their career or business.
Now,
Right.
did part of the reason why you picked that particular niche is that did you have any struggles yourself in terms of like going through that so you can kind of relate to other women who might be going through difficult transitions?
Yeah, so let me see. So far in extent of my life, I have a few set of reset. Transition. Currently, it's from layoff. I was in corporate world for 20 years, and I was laid off last year. And after that, I feel that burnout, and I feel that big shift of identity that kind of tied to titles, position, your team, the paycheck.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of like strip away.
Yeah, because we have bills to pay
So
still.
yeah, exactly. So I try to find a meaning to lead this group in terms of helping professional find that clarity and act and also rebuild that momentum because you have layered your ground of, whatever career you're choosing or professional life you're choosing so far. All of a sudden that wind kind of like knock you out of your feet. And what happened? Two things happen. You will either go try to find a meaningful certain places, like
Yeah.
going back to the workforce, find a resume, like everything come from a place of urgency.
Yeah.
But I wanted to rewrite that we don't have to operate from a place of urgency. When you really think about it, you can really find the grounding place where you are behind your career, you are behind that business, and you can really lead from that place of love and grounded and move forward with that intention and purpose, not urgency.
I love that. That is fantastic. Now, it almost sounds like just not less like a coach, but more almost like a mentor or a support person in terms of
Yeah.
like helping women through getting through those transitions.
Yes, that's right. And that's why I love coaches. I love, I have my share of coaches. I have five throughout my career span helping me with different stuff. But when it comes to coaching, I feel that I'll be the middle ground because I'm always the guy. I'm the middle child.
Okay.
I'm always the guy. And I was translating to my parents when I was 14 years old, not knowing what adulthood means. So I'm always the middle person. I try to mitigate things. I try to, find the middle ground. I'm in that in between. Even my whole professional career, I'm always in that in between, bringing the first, like the start and the end together. For my corporate jobs, it's always that way. So that's why I feel that it's really needed to have that hand on and support that can actually lead that. middle.
Now, did you have a mentor yourself or a guide for yourself when you were going through difficult times, or did you kind of do it on your own? Do you have a fairly strong support system as well, either personal or professional?
So I will say that my path to here hasn't been traditional one. And just kind of going back when I was younger, many of my friends, I love my friends. They become, the doctors, the lawyers, and the engineer, to careers that have with instant, recognition. And my lane took longer. Like what I love to do took longer to name. So I will find when I'm in that transition, the first one was when I come to America. I came to this country when I was 14, and that experience, self-led experience, taught me adaptability and resilience early on. And that's also kind of translating to like when I was in high school, I was that kid who loved both track and cooking. And I
Okay.
have that mentor that can actually push me to get me structure. So at the end of that, I joined multiple clubs because of what I need the time. And sometime I even joined just, being a chair member for a smaller club, just kind of be in that space. And on the surface, it looks like I was all over the place, but each interest was teaching me something. So when you're asking me, was I have a coach, was I have a mentor? Not there because I was built to overcome. I was
Okay.
built to have that resilience, adaptability in that mix. But if you ask me 5 years, 10 years later, when I got into the transformational space, yes, I got my, I work with a lot of coaches. I work with a lot of mentors, and that's specifically for what I need to grow at that time. So I don't
Got it.
overlap.
Okay. Very good. Well, let's take a step back for a second and let's
Mhm,
tell the listeners, like, first of all, what is the name of your business? Why did you pick that name? And kind of
mhm,
what types of clients do you work with? I know there's not necessarily a typical one size fits all in terms of like the type of sessions or
mhm,
consultations that you do.
right.
Again, the name of your business and maybe an example of some of the ways that you help your clients and help women through that transitional period.
So when I started it, the Balance Professional, it's called my small business is the Balance Professional Work. And specifically, you'll find me in like professional development and business consulting field-ish industry. Okay. And I started in 2019. And at the time, it was mostly just co-partner with local nonprofits. And I partnered up and I create those space for immigrants case that are coming into the country, and we did like vocational skills, work career skills that they can be read, prep for interviews and first career in the States. That was great. And that was mostly pro bono work. And then that was it. That was the bound professional then. But then when COVID happened, everything shifted. People need more support. People are available online. So I would do online group coaching or mentoring, depending on what they need at the time. And mostly just like local, I focus on the local community, near and far. So at the end of that, the bound professional works. Everything I do is rooted in like in real experience, people's experience. And I love academic and business psychology.
Okay.
I read that I read that couple times, the news couple times out of the week. And I'm very fascinated of how humans actually grow,
Okay.
rebuild, and move forward. So these principles keep my space both human centered and also practice based. So
Okay.
you will see me in a group space that I facilitate locally in the community. So if you're one of those people that, I don't like one-on-one, I thrive in smaller group. You see me at a local community accountability group support.
Okay.
Or if you say I know what I need, I just need to go from A to B because I feel stuck. I'm in between. Then we can do that one-on-one for that more deeper work. And if you're a member-based space and you have, you feel like your members are at capacity of, a lot is happening. You just want someone to come in positively inspirational. I told my story from coming to America and, with self-leadership, tools, distributing that at that space also.
All right. So thank you for sharing that information. That is fantastic. I love that. I love the fact that you're able to really kind of not just do one on one, but also focus on groups because
Yeah.
one, you can just not hit, but reach out to reach more people in a group
Right.
situation than you can one on one. So that is fantastic.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier regarding immigrants, and can you tell
Hmm.
a little bit about your background and kind of where you grew up, where you were born,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
little bit about your heritage, and also if that has affected you from a business perspective as well.
Absolutely. So the cultural perspective for me is that I'm a post refugee, daughter, sister, kid, woman. I was born originally in the southeast coast of West Africa. I was born in a very little village, and after later on in life, I was told that back then my ancestor at that time were chiefs and loyalties, and I'm still waiting to be crowned as a princess. Until then, I am in Bloomingdale DuPage, holding space for women that are in transition. But so then I will move away 14 years later from when I was born. I will move away from that village to a city called Lome, Togo. That's like from Chicagoland to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? 74, 72 miles. And I will grow up there as a teen. And then, due to uncivil arrest in Lome, Togo, my dad held a very, government position at the time. So he had to flee the country
Okay.
and take us with us, and
Okay.
take us with him. And that flee, when I think about that time, I can only imagine what my dad was feeling and my mom was feeling at the time, because like, that urgency I was talking about, they got to get out. And we would go to another country called Benin
Okay.
for another 10 years because nothing is ever fast.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And then, yeah, and then we will migrate to United States in 2000 at the
Okay.
age of 14. I was at 14.
Now, did your parents have any relatives or connections in the U.S., or did you just came in blind?
No, they came in blind only because at the time the U.S. opened up, their refugees resettlement contract. So they were able to use that, kind of set that up from the beginning, momentum, kind of
Okay.
set that up from the beginning. And when you get into a space where you will claim as a refugee, there's Cross, there are, civic, in connection with the other country that are able to get in people that are on civil rights status, or the country going to war, or there's like, religious freedom, things, anything that
Right.
has to do with, cultural shift. So that was why their story kind of the winning ticket to get
Right.
them
Okay.
to, to the States.
Got it.
Yeah. And as far as like, my cultural perspective on that, I mentioned earlier when I was growing up, my friends are like, have titles like doctors or engineer. Those title carrying honor in any community, right? So, but for a long time for me, I didn't have a neat title to point to. And even calling myself now as a life and career reset facilitator, it felt strange at first. But I learned that cultural approve doesn't equal alignment, right? What matters is doing the work that I love, and that is enough for me. And from that journey, I build the space. I build those based on what I've learned, based on my lived experience, based on the transitions that I've come, out of. And it's a framework really that I use to help, professional pause and reset and move forward with that structure and clarity that they need and the support they need.
I
Yeah.
love that line that you just said in terms of cultural approval doesn't mean alignment. That is fantastic because I'm sure there are a lot of refugees and immigrants who are really kind of focused on their culture, and not necessarily blaming their culture for not being successful, but feel that that's a strong part of it.
Yes.
But you seem to have been able to really kind of break through that barrier, even with
Hmm.
like the struggles and coming into the US, you said around 14 years old.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, especially at 14, that those are like primary like formation years,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
teen, preteen, in terms of leaving friends, leaving family, or what have
Hmm.
you, and then having to
Hmm.
kind of start over again.
Yeah.
And I'm very thrilled to hear that you really didn't let any barriers from a cultural perspective really kind of stop you from what you wanted to do.
Absolutely. And it wasn't that easy at first. I'm still sometimes like, oh, girl, are you sure about that? It's like that critical thinking
Right.
of all, but it's better. It's better. And I think what it takes is that I believe in a strong self leadership and the idea that you don't have to wait until you have a title or like certification or like someone else's permission to start. You don't have to be an expert before you take the first step. And if you've been alive for this long, I'm not talking to kids. I'm talking to 18-year-old plus. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have some kind of perspective. I'm sure you have some
Yeah.
perspective and how. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
and some of my history as well. I mean, I was in corporate America for quite a long time. Even though I started out as a therapist and a counselor,
Mhm.
and I went into corporate America just because I got a little bit burnt out on that, and I was in corporate America for 25 years. But
Mm.
I really missed being able to give back to others and help others get through some of the situations that I had to go through myself in
Right.
terms of
Mhm.
the layoffs. Our story is
Yeah.
similar because I got tired of
Yeah.
being laid off because my
Mhm.
corporate America career was in marketing, digital marketing, and for some
Wow.
reason the first cuts to hit in terms of like
Mhm.
downsizing or whatever was the marketing part department, which made no sense
Mhm.
to me whatsoever.
Right.
So,
You are.
and I'm like
Yeah.
layoffs and just the stress and the long hours, and I'm like
Mhm.
I can't do this anymore. And
Right.
I really missed helping others. So that's how I got back into the business of helping others through like coaching.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
get the fact that you were in the corporate America
Mhm.
situation and the
Yeah.
layoffs and the struggles. So I feel
Yeah.
for you as well. Yeah, it's totally understandable. So I'm glad you are here. I'm glad you're able to really kind of do what you really want to do, which is fantastic.
Mm.
And the fact that you're
Yeah.
helping so many other people is wonderful.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that, lens of it only because you mentioned something about being in a corporate world and having to come from a layoffs and then you have to go back to the human center of service. And I think that that's valid. Honestly, I feel like everyone is seeking that right now, that human-centered service. So no matter how many, titles or positions, change you made in the world of corporate world, you are always gonna have that, that gravity of, okay, now, like now what? Now what? And for me, it takes me a while to really get there. I call myself multi-interest person because
Okay.
because I don't have one thing. Like the
Okay.
idea to just have love one thing, you know, because when you start school, like, college, I go to college and, I'm not everyone go to college because college does not guarantee, time, effort,
Yeah.
and, energy. What it guarantees is structure, discipline, and knowing your way to when it comes to like interpreting things,
Yeah.
and structure. But instead of fighting, for okay, what is my gift? What is my gift? What is my gift? Means, I can connect with many things and people in a different ways. That is not specifically what someone paid me to do,
Yeah.
and I can honestly say yes, based on those experience, I can hold space for variety and I can leave, room with lessons with different corners of life. So that's why I'm like, I am not, one thing. I'm multi-interest. person.
It's very good. I love that line. That is fantastic. Multi-interest, very good. That
Yeah,
is great. Now,
yeah.
with your business, when did you officially kind of, if there is a date, officially like open your doors in terms of saying, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it?
I mean, last year.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Last year because after layoff, like I said, I was, I want to go get another job because
Right.
I was working from a place of urgency. I have bills to
Yeah.
pay. But when you really think about it, and you really think about it, what's the worst thing that could actually happen for someone that got laid off in the next 90 days? Like, be honest with yourself. I always say this, like, be honest. Think about it for a minute, right? So I took those 90 days to really come curving out the bound professionals and join my local chamber and really be out there, right? Because that's the difference between having a job that you clock in, structure, it's there, it's time, you put in your time, you get a paycheck. But when it's your own, you're gonna have to go out there, and that's one of those struggles that I face the most, getting out there and say, "Oh, hey, look at me. I have something I want to offer the public." It was hard, that hard,
Yeah.
'cause when I was in corporate, I was doing, corporate training. I was mostly on Zoom. So
Okay. Yep.
getting out of behind the Zoom and getting out there was tough. But I have to place myself there because if I don't, then I'll go back working for someone else. And I'm not saying it's nothing bad, but someone tell me there is no plan B. So,
Yeah, I get
yeah.
it. So one of the things I talk to, because I have coaches and therapists that I talk to as well, because I
Mhm.
believe in actually having that support system and having someone
Oh,
to
yes.
talk to. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I talk to my mentors about, and same things like, okay, if what's the worst going to happen, and
Mhm.
they're like, okay, you have a support system, you have people,
Mhm.
you have some finances in place, and you are an intelligent person, so you're
Mhm.
not going to just be out, so you just
Mhm.
have that support. And I'm like,
You're
yeah,
right.
you're right. I mean,
You're
it's
right.
not it's it could always, it definitely, one thing I always say, it could always be worse, all right, but
Yeah.
you still have to kind
Mhm.
of have some sort of plan, some sort of
Right.
things that will also motivate you. So you're right.
Mhm.
When you're getting that paycheck on a regular basis, it's definitely a mindset switch when that stops and you have to be out on your own.
Mhm.
And basically getting out there, letting people know who you are, what you do, how
Right.
you can help,
Right.
doing the marketing and
Yeah.
wearing all those hats, everything else that it takes to run a business. It can be difficult sometimes, but one of the things I personally tell people is that I love what I do now. It is
Mhm.
fantastic. I mean, I will still keep doing this for as long as I can because it's fun to
Right.
me and I'm helping
Mhm.
people and I'm happy. And that makes a difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then not be afraid to ask for help when you're going through those phases. I mean, when you're going through those phases, I think just the idea is that we get into spaces or things and we're like, "Oh, this is it." And then something happened and you're like, "Oh, this is not it." Like,
Right.
so
Yes.
so you gotta be and also be comfortable because not everybody's comfortable asking for help, you know? So I will, the mindset is I wanna be a millionaire, but
I want to be right there with you. So yes.
I still wanna do things from a place of heart where I don't where people that come to me for help don't feel like they have to, explain their exhaustion. They have to explain why they take breaks. Because in society, we have to explain all this, even motherhood. You
Yeah.
have to go back, "Oh, why you take the extra, 60 day, whatever it is,"
Yeah.
you know? And if anything happened and you no longer have that timestamp on your resume, you have to explain that. I don't have to explain that, you know? I don't, because I'm human. So, yeah, it's also nice to have that help. So I want my space to be inviting. I want my space to operate from a place of, love and structure. And then, like I said, I really just love, at the end of the day, it's professional development, but I can't sell professional development because nobody cares, okay? But what I can sell is let's breathe. let's reflect. Let's
Yeah.
think about what we have done so far and collect those wins so that we don't do the same thing out of urgency and find ourselves in that overwhelm, that stress, and the burnout.
One of the things you mentioned that I did want to bring up with you is that you have a child, right?
Yes, I have
Yes.
two.
Two? You have two. How old are they?
So my daughter's 8. I mean, almost
Okay.
8, going 18. My son is 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how have you found it? Have you found it challenging to be a business owner, a female business owner, and a female business owner with children that you and a family that you have to take care of? How has that all played a part in kind of where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. It's been challenging because
Yeah.
even though I don't clock in 8 to 5, I feel like I'm always on because there's always something that I have to attend. There's always something that I have to participate because of the kids. But I always also said that you are you first. This is where I happen to be self-lead, you know, because I'm not teaching leadership in the corporate term. I'm teaching self-leadership. Everything that guide that principle to lead yourself first. Because like when you get in the airplane, it said when there's an emergency, put the thing on your mouth first.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you gotta you really gotta find a way, find those practice, find those inner and external practice group spaces to really lead yourself out. So then you have that time, energy, and the attention to take care of those that relied on you. But those don't come easy because we're self prone to judging ourselves because we need to be a mother. Yes, I love my kids. Yes, I am a mother. But if you ask me which one is first, Afito is first. I'm first, then mother next, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get there and people still judge you because it's like we're a mother and we have to be everything. No, you have to be you first, then mother next, you know. So kind of like pull all those down, all those other identity and say, okay, let me take care of Fido. So when I go into places, I don't feel as guilty. That, oh, I
You
should have
got
known,
it. Yeah.
I do what I gotta do so I can be present for my kids. Just like when I need to take a nap or when I'm hungry, you don't want to talk to me.
That's right. There you go. God, I love that. So yes,
Are
you
you
like
don't
back ways.
know, and also ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help. I'm that help, man. I have neighbors that will come and say, "Oh, if you ever need, to watch the kids." I'm like, "Oh, then you feel guilty, but you're only one person."
Yeah.
And yes, I do have my spouse. Yes, and he worked from home, but he needed work from home. So
Yeah.
there's that structure that I have to put a layer of, okay, there's places and time, and then it's like a 100% parenting, 100%. You're 100% parent. I'm 100% parent. Because in your case of absent, I'll take over. If my kids are, you have to take over. So there's no 50-50 with me. I'm sorry. I have to I fight that a lot when it comes to parenting. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, one of the things and that is fantastic. I love that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that's one of the things I teach or try to teach some of my clients as well is that
Mhm.
you have to take care of you. You have to take some
Yeah.
you time first because if
Mhm.
you're not taking care of you, you're not going to be any good for anyone else that's out there.
No.
Not
No.
a child or a parent or a
No.
spouse or a
Mhm.
coworker at your job. You're not going to be able to do anything for anyone else or help anyone else
Mhm.
until you first help yourself. One
Yeah.
of the things that people ask me all the time, because people who are close to me and know me know that I'm doing 1,000 things at once. I do my life coaching is my business and my full time, but I also teach
Mhm.
marketing part time. I also teach
Mhm.
kickboxing part time. I
Mm.
also am a licensed insurance agent, so I have some clients every now and there part time as
You're
well.
multi-interest like my son.
Exactly,
Love
multi
it.
interest. So people ask me all the time, and I also, of course, do focus on marketing because of my marketing
Mhm.
background. So people ask me all the
Right.
time, how are you doing this? How are you doing like podcasts and social media videos and still teaching part time and still have like a life? I have a partner that I see on the weekends as well, and we spend time together.
Mhm.
They're like, "How are you doing all this?" I'm like, "I do it
Right.
because I focus on me first.
That's true.
First and my myself is my priority. It may sound selfish to some people, but hey, that's up to you. So I
Yes.
know I'm organized and I focus on me. If I need a break, I'll just take a break.
Mhm. Yes.
But my main focus, my highest priority is me first and foremost, and then everything
Yeah,
else comes
absolutely.
after that. So I totally get what you're saying, and it's absolutely
Yeah.
true. And it's difficult for some people to really kind of be able to do that because they
Yeah.
want to give so much and they see that as being selfish. It's not being
Mhm.
selfish. It's just basically
Yeah.
you just taking care of yourself.
Yes. Yes,
So
absolutely. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. And yeah, because I mean, what do we need the most? Money, yes,
yeah.
but then also there's that time and energy, and just like the attention of things, and and what brings it all together is you. It's you. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And by the way, I think I've met I think you brought your daughter at one point to one of the events and she is
Yeah.
adorable.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
she's my little sidekick. I mean sidekick. See, English
Right. Yeah,
sidekick,
exactly.
not sidekick.
I get it. So yes, that makes absolutely sense. And you basically said she's like 8, you said, going on
Yeah,
18?
she's gonna be 8 going on 18. The roll starts. It start early now. Like I'm
Oh
thinking,
yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yep, I get it. I have a daughter too, but mine's older. My daughter is in her 20s at this point. So
Mm.
yeah, I get it though. Daughters are very different than sons, that's for
They
sure.
cost they cost they cost money. They're so
Yes.
moody.
Yes.
Uh, they have opinions. I'm like, you 8. Like, get
Right,
out of here.
exactly. Yeah, you're too young to have an opinion. About what?
Yeah,
Just
like,
play.
but then there's this thing called self-mothering. Like, so I ask them every time I go, I'm like, look, I was born in an African household. My
Uh,
parents don't take BS. They see through it. They don't care. So
mhm.
which one do you want? You want the American version mama or the African version mama? It don't matter to
Yes,
me.
sir.
You choose. So
All
you can
right.
tell they
Yeah,
choose. Yeah.
exactly. All right. So as we start to wrap up today, let's tell people how they can get in touch with you, and in terms of how they can get a hold of you if they want additional information or to
Mhm.
have you help them or be part of a group that you're maybe leading. How can they get a hold of you?
Okay, score. Thank you for giving me that space for there to say that. So first of all, I wanted to remind everyone that there is gonna be so many transitions in your life. Like, nothing is ever everlasting, right? And one of the things that I love is a theory called the Bridges transition model. It's where there's always that middle, when you go through changes, it's like the ending, the neutral zone, and the new beginnings. Okay, I love that because I have gone through that and I studied that and I love reading stuff like that. So keep that in mind. So depending on where you are, awareness, right? Awareness and what you need in that moment, then yes, you can find me on Facebook under the Balance Professional Work. That's mostly community and just putting my thought there. I give practical tips on how to move from that in between space, and that's there. And majority of my community group, daytime, where are all posts on my Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Afito Chiu. That's mostly just when kind of showing the community what I'm doing, what I'm up to. And I'm also on LinkedIn. The Balance Professional Works is on LinkedIn. It's on LinkedIn. And just kind of if you in my website, thebalanceprofessionalworks.com. So depending on what you need, you can go on there just after, I need 30 minutes to breathe because I'm actually a breathwork student right now. Loving it. So I'm gonna
Nice.
be rolling that out. So even if it's just 30 minutes that you need to breathe properly, normally, let me know. That's it. So I'm on social media And I have my website.
Fantastic. I love that. Is there anything else you would like to tell the listeners about any final words, as it were?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I want everyone to remember whatever you're going through right now, whether it's life shifting or career shifting, just like your story, my story is not linear, it's layered. When you really look back, everything is layered up. It's about lived-in experience, it's full of pauses and things that you go through, and that become your turning points at time. And that's what I bring to the work that I do. The reminder that success isn't about choosing the right lane early or those prestigious path. It's about creating the lane that actually fits who you are for what you're going through now. So keep that in mind.
All right, very good. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on board at this podcast. So thank you so much, and maybe we'll do another one too sometime.
Yes, I love it. Thank
Fantastic. I love it. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. Love your story. Love the conversation that we just had. I'm sure we will see one another at chamber events and in the community doing things. And so, yeah, other than that, thank you and have a great rest of your day. All right. Take care.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.